What is an ADD coach? The person is just what the name implies, an individual standing on the sidelines with a whistle around his or her neck, barking out encouragement, directions, and reminders to the player in the game. The coach can be a pain in the neck sometimes, dogging the player to stay alert in the game. The coach can also be a source of solace when the player feels ready to give up. Mainly, the coach keeps the player focused on the task at hand and offers encouragement along the way. While individual therapy marks the starting point for most people with ADD, additional forms of psychotherapy can be extremely helpful, particularly family therapy, couples therapy, and group therapy. Groups, for any problem, not just ADD, can mobilize positive energy in ways that are truly remarkable. When groups are properly run, they are a safe, cost-effective, and highly successful kind of therapy for ADD. This applies to both children and adults.
To illustrate the power of group therapy in ADD, let me tell a story from one of the groups I conduct. Some time ago, I began to organize groups for adults with ADD. I had never done this before, and I had not read of others doing it, but it seemed to me a good idea. To start my first group, I announced the idea at a lecture I gave. From the people who signed up, I selected a group of 10 men and women, and we started to meet once a week. Not knowing what would happen, I sat in my office the evening of the first meeting of the group. We were to meet from 7 to 8:15. By 7:15, not one of the 10 members had appeared. I began to wonder if my own ADD had led me to write down the wrong day. At 7:20, the first member showed up. He burst into the office, ready to apologize for being late, but when he discovered he was the first to arrive, he started laughing and said, "Well, what can you expect?" 7 people eventually arrived for the first meeting. 3 others left messages saying they had gotten lost on their way to my office. The ones who did find their way began the most remarkable group I have ever participated in. They came together immediately, united in their desire to find mutual understanding, to tell their various stories, and to be there for each other. I gave the group some basic regulations. Try to be on time. Don't socialize with each other outside the group. If you are going to miss a session, try to let the group know about it in advance. We contracted to meet for 20 weeks with an option to continue for another 10 weeks if people wanted to. The next session, all 10 members showed up and on time. They laughed about the trouble they'd had with directions the week before and started what became a regular practice in the group of giving good-natured kidding as a way of dealing with the problems of ADD. Their exuberance filled the room even before they knew each other. It was as if, in some intuitive part of their minds, they already knew each other and how important the group would become. From the beginning, they were ready for each other. They began to tell their stories. One by one, not on cue but spontaneously, tales of humor and tales of pain filled the room. They looked around at each other, giving nods of approval and nods of recognition, as they would identify with one detail or another that was being related. To be with them was to be with people who had spent their whole lives feeling different, only now to discover in each other that they were not alone. They laughed back tears, and they faced each other's pain with first-hand understanding, as they told of misunderstandings, frustrations, and lost chances, as well as of tips and advice, tricks from the ADD trade. I didn't have to do a thing. If one member interrupted another member, others would say something like, "Now don't interrupt. Since we all have ADD, we have to be really careful about paying attention to each other." They looked out for each other in this kind of way during every session. To me, the group was evidence of just how important it was for people with ADD to be together and, at last, to be understood.